Mayor Knos?
Here.
Mr. Donahue is absent. Ms. Greenfield?
Here.
Mr. Hammond?
Here.
Ms. McCready is just
Oh,
being led into the meeting. She's here. Mr. McQueen?
Here.
Ms. Menorah?
Here.
Notice of this meeting was provided to the Bernardsville News, Courier News, and the Star Ledger, filed with the municipal clerk and posted on the municipal bulletin board on December 24th, 2020. If you could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I can't stand, so I'm just going to sit. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
which
stands,
one nation,
under
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Stop share. There it goes. All right, we're back. It is now time for presentations. So I will turn this over to Chief Valentine. Just, unmute yourself, Chief.
There we go. That's better.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure tonight to present to you two new candidates for a police officer in the Borough of Bernardsville. We recently hired Andrew DeMeo and Cole Rhinesmith as police officers in the Borough of Bernardsville, and we're presenting them to you tonight for their formal swearing in as a police officer. Andrew DeMeo is 23 years old. He currently, Andrew, wave so they know who you are there. Okay. Well, there you go. Okay. Andrew's 23 years old. He currently resides in Bridgewater, New Jersey. He was most recently employed as a police officer with the Point Pleasant Beach Police Department in Ocean County, New Jersey, as a SLEO 2 law enforcement officer. He graduated from Bridgewater Raritan High School and obtained a Bachelor's of Arts degree in sociology from Moravian College. He also previously attended the Ocean County Police Academy, where he graduated as a member of Special Police Class number 49. Cole Rhinesmith is 23 years old. He currently resides in Bloomingdale, New Jersey. He was most recently employed by the Avalon Police Department, where he was employed as a Special Law Enforcement Officer 2. He graduated from Butler High School and obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree in Liberal Arts from Rowan University. Patrolman Rhinesmith received prior police training as a member of the Special Class number 58 at the Cape May County Police Academy. So we here in the police department are very pleased and honored to have them join our ranks. We were impressed by their resumes and their experience. We think they'll be a great addition to the Bernardsville Police Department and will meld with our community very well. They're very community oriented, and I think you'll find them as a great selection for our department and in addition to our department. So without any further ado, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor. I think, do we have some family on, Andrew and Cole?
Yeah, would you like to introduce your family? That would be great. If they're nearby.
I can call mine over really quick.
Yeah, we love to meet them.
You guys want to come over here?
We didn't know if they were on board or not. I know you talked about having family attend as well.
Yeah,
so
they were actually watching.
presence.
Yeah, they were actually watching in the other room, but they're coming here now.
Okay.
Hi guys. This is my mom, my
There you are.
sister, and my father right here.
Wonderful. Welcome to the department.
Welcome, yeah.
Hi,
Nice to meet you all.
It's nice.
Yeah,
It's nice to meet you. We're very excited to have your son join us here. And then Andrew, I see you too, so thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Welcome to the department.
what do you have? Who's there? Introduce us. Nope, you're on mute, Andrew. Wait, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Andrew, you're muted.
You're muted. There you go. Turn off the mute.
All
right.
I haven't used Zoom yet, so
Okay.
this is my mother Joanne DeMeo and my father John.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys. So we can, I don't know how you want to do the swearing in, Anthony, if you want to do one and then the other one, or if you want to do them both together.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I usually will just, I'll put one oath of office up and then they can read it and then I'll put the other one up and then that person can read it as well. So we'll do it one at a time.
So Cole, why don't we start with you?
Hold
Yes,
on.
sir.
I'll share it up here. Okay. Okay. You can read that oath of office form right there.
Yes, sir. I, Cole Rhinesmith, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of New Jersey, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the government established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of patrolman according to the best of my ability, and that I will not use my office to grant preferential treatment nor to seek personal gain, favor, or advantage not available to the general public, so help me God.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, I'll put the other one up there. Okay, there you go.
Ready?
Yeah, yeah, Andrew, you could read the oath of office, yes.
Okay. I, Andrew DeMaio, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of New Jersey, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the government established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of patrolman according to the best of my ability, and that I will not use my office to grant preferential treatment nor to seek personal gain, favor, or advantage not available to the general public, so help me God.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Welcome.
Congratulations. Glad to
Thank
have you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, guys. We'll have an opportunity in the future where you can bring your family down here to police headquarters and we'll get together for some photos and things like that that we normally do after the swearing in. Hopefully we'll be able to do that soon. So thank you for taking the time tonight to be here, everybody, for this, and we look forward to working with you both.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Welcome
Okay,
aboard.
welcome.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the community.
Welcome.
Okay, next we have approval of minutes. Would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I assume Diane, you'll abstain. Yeah, okay, good. All right, minutes have been approved. Before we have open session next, which is an opportunity for the public to comment. And we limit the comments to 3 minutes. If you'd like to say something, please either put your hand up on the screen or go like that and give your name and address. If you have something written that you're reading from, please send a copy to our clerk. So I see Johanna already had her hand up, so you're up.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm Johanna Wissinger. I'm representing the Environmental Commission. I'm chair. I came with a request tonight of the members of the council. I would like our money that we have, the Environmental Commission money, to be used for a Rutgers study. We have money left over because we were reserving it for electric vehicle stations, and that didn't work out for us for 2021. This is a program I recently found out about where Rutgers, their water resources program, will evaluate a municipality's roads with the purpose of helping to mitigate runoff. And what they do is use graduate students. They do aerials and engineering, give a cost analysis to determine where they can put some green infrastructure practices. In this case, mostly they will be bioswales. Bioswales are natural ways of collecting and recharging water. Water on roadways is very destructive. It can erode them, winds up with costing more to repair them. Particularly in Bernardsville, we have roads that have their skirts eroded, and that can be dangerous. The roads get narrower. Some drivers are afraid of the edges, and so it's a concern, but underscoring its cost of road, and everyone sees roads, and we know that they're expensive. So this is a way of considering a way to do this. Bernardsville, I think it would be a very good candidate because we have, our topography has a lot of slopes and a lot of our roads are valleyed, which means their banked water comes into them. Water builds up volume and then becomes more destructive. From an environmental viewpoint, I'm concerned that roads also concentrate pollutants that wind up in somebody's drinking water. Another advantage is that if you get water closest to its source, then you have recharge value. Recharge value is very important for Bernardsville. Everybody, even people who think they're on city water, depend upon wells. We have no reservoirs. And so recharging water is important. It's a hard thing for people to understand because we see all of our wonderful streams, but our water has special geology. Our area has special geology that has crevices for water. So I would like to use the 5,000 towards that. I don't know if Rutgers will take us on, but I think it would be an important thing. It's timely. We want to be prepared for our spring construction, and we will need time to really analyze it, to work with the borough administrator, with Tom and our experts, and most importantly, the Works Department, to make this work so that we can mitigate runoff. So that's what I have to say before I get the hook. And I hope you will do it. If there's money left over, we could do one of the 14 sites. I'm thinking of Meeker Road for Rutgers. Saying Rutgers is a great bang for the buck. They have graduate students, they have the tools, they have the backing of the DEP. They specialize in this, and so I'm hoping that you will agree with this. Thank you for listening to me.
Thanks, Johanna. Is it a grant or you actually hire them to do it?
We'll have to hire them. We'll have to commission them to do this. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But it's a good cause because they want to promote this. They want examples of municipalities, and they really, their object is to reduce runoff into waterways.
Okay. Tom, can you, I'm not sure what's next, but perhaps can they give you a proposal that we can actually have to approve of exactly what?
Yes, and
what the time?
thank you, Mary. It does sound like a good project, but just to be consistent with our processes, a proposal would be requested and we'd review it at the Finance Committee.
From Rutgers as to what their costs are and what?
Yes, to make, oh, sorry. Yeah, and to make sure that we're not having any sort of additional costs that we have to be ready for.
Yeah.
We've just to interject, we've asked them to just to put together a proposal so that we had a formal number for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Would anyone else from the public like to be heard?
Mayor, can I ask a question about the proposal?
Yeah.
So, Jeff, you sent around some pictures. Now, the $5,000 isn't to build this; it's to do a study. Is that?
It's basically, and we discussed this at the Public Works Committee, and Doug Walker was happy about it as well because it'll help preserve the roads, prevent erosion. But the idea is that it would be an environmental engineering study. If there were money left over, it could be dedicated towards actual construction, but that was not the intent.
What is one, because the rock, I forget what they're called here. Looks like it runs the entirety of the road. What does it cost for one of those to be built? Do we know, or is it?
I don't know, but that's part of what they'll tell us. So then,
Okay.
then the council at the time would be able to decide whether they wanted to proceed or not.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. Anyone else from the public like to be heard? If not, I just would like to, Carrie Hazelton had asked me to read something because she could not be here. I don't know, for those of you who knew Sherry Frawley, her passing is a real loss to our community. She's been very active in town, and it's just, I worked with her on open space and a couple other committees, and she has just been an incredible benefit to our town and will be greatly missed. And Carrie had written, I want to take this opportunity to remark upon the recent passing of a dedicated Bernardsville public servant. Sherry Frawley served with distinction and grace for 25 years on our environmental commission. She was a great leader and an exceptional person. We will miss her sense of humor and wise counsel as we continue on the path without her. May her family be comforted by fond memories, and may Sherry rest in peace. And so we send our thoughts and prayers to Bob and family, and we will miss her. So thank you, Carrie, for sending that in. If there's no other comments, I will close the public hearing. And I will ask Chad, would you, oh no, I'm sorry, I have to open the public hearing now on the ordinance, thinking we're introducing it, but we're not. So I will open the public hearing on ordinance 2021-1900 concerning affordable housing development fees and amending Article 13 in the Land Development Regulations chapter of the Borough Code entitled Affordable Housing. And this was, I believe, Jack, this was cleaning up the language of an accessory building. Kind of.
Yes, this was reverting to our prior language, which was much clearer as to when there's a development fee imposed for an addition to a structure.
Right, and there's a certain amount that goes into the affordable housing bank, kind of.
That's correct. It all goes into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund.
Okay. Would anyone from the public like to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Now, Chad, would you move to pass?
Sure. I move to pass ordinance 2021-1900 on final reading and adopt as published.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion from council?
I mean, this obviously went to the planning board as well. So if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, and I saw it is. I always forget the phrase. It's that backwards.
It is not inconsistent.
Yeah, not inconsistent. I love that. Okay. Roll call, please.
Ms. Greenfield,
Yes.
Mr. Hammond,
Yes.
Ms. McCready,
Yes.
Mr. McQueen,
Yes.
Ms. Zamara.
Yes.
Okay, I will now open the public hearing on ordinance 2021-1901, supplementing and amending Article 12 of the Borough Land Use Ordinance entitled Zoning to create a new R3A Residence Overlay District. Would anyone from the public like to be heard on this? And I see we have Reverend Dave here and Nina from St. John on the Mountain, and this is the very ambitious and generous effort on their behalf to add some low-income housing to our community. So we really appreciate your outreach and thank you for attending the meeting. Would anyone like to be heard on this ordinance? Then I will close the public hearing. Chad, you want to do that one too? That's
I'm happy to. I move to pass 2021-1901 on final reading and adopt as published. And again, I'd like to thank the Reverend and St. John's. This is a great idea.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call,
Looks
please.
like we just took a vote.
Ms. Zamara,
Yes.
Mr. McQueen,
Yes.
Ms. McCready,
Yes.
Mr. Hammond, Ms. Greenfield?
Yes.
All right. Okay, now we're up to introductions. Gina, I think this is kind of Public Works, yeah? Want to move that one?
Let me scroll up. Oh,
Scrolling.
yeah. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm on my phone. I can't
That's tough.
do both.
What else?
So this is for, sorry, this is the 1902.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I move that ordinance 2021-1902 appropriating the sum of $10,000 for the replacement of SBR blower motor sewer capital be introduced by title, passed on first reading, published according to law, and that a public hearing be scheduled for a meeting beginning at 7 p.m. Monday, December 13th, 2021.
I'll second.
All in favor, discussion? Anybody want to talk about this? I think it's pretty clear. Something we need to replace, so,
Seemed pretty clear.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We're good. Okay.
Let me do this one too.
Yeah, do that one too. That's,
I move that ordinance 2021-1903 appropriating the sum of $133,000 for the emergency replacement of the UV disinfection system sewer capital be introduced by title, passed on first reading, published according to law, and that a public hearing be scheduled for a meeting beginning at 7 p.m. on Monday, December 13th, 2021.
I'll second.
okay, and this, I believe we're going to submit this for FEMA funding
Yes, we are, Mayor.
because it was damaged by Ida, so.
Yeah, directly damaged.
Okay, we had a second? Yes, we did. All
Yes,
in
we did.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? All right. Law enforcement, shared services. So
Would be John, but he's not here.
here, I
You want me
know.
to keep going since I got it up?
Got it there, do it.
Okay. I move that ordinance 2020-1904 concerning local law enforcement of the Uniform Fire Code through a shared services agreement with Bernards Township and amending Chapter 15 of the Borough Code entitled Fire Prevention be introduced by title, passed on first reading, published according to law, and that a public hearing be scheduled for a meeting beginning at 7 p.m. on Monday, December 13th, 2021. Jesus, going back to 1900s now.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? I think that's pretty simple too.
Well, this one just was added, but is Jeff Price on? Because
I can
I
explain
had a
it.
question.
Yeah, I can explain
Okay.
it. It's to reflect the fact that the fire code is now enforced through the shared services agreement with Bernards Township. So we had to change our ordinance to reflect that fact.
Anybody else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I
Opposed? Abstentions? Moving on to resolutions, we have 21-245 to 21-258.
Yeah, could I pull out 253, please?
253, yeah, there's an explanation to that. Anthony, I think, sent us an email kind of,
I missed that correspondence.
Yeah, well, it's also listed under business though, too. So are we doing this here or are we pulling it out?
we're doing both.
We're doing both. Yeah, we have to rescind the approval that we did in June because the special ruling wasn't granted until recently. So we have to rescind the special ruling with 253. And then later on, since the special ruling was just granted last week, we have to then reapprove it with the resolution later on under new business. And so it's kind of a clerical cleanup that we're doing here for this ABC license.
Okay, sorry, I saw you sent the emails, but I didn't have a chance to read them before the
Okay.
meeting, sorry.
Yeah, it's more procedural, getting everything in the right order.
Does that mean, though, if we rescind it and then we're being asked to reapprove it, then it still stays inactive. Is that correct?
Right, yes, it's still an inactive license. It's not in use. We're just kind of just rescinding our approval from June and just reapproving it, but it still is inactive, yes.
How long can a license remain inactive before a vendor loses it?
Yeah,
It's up
that's
to
been inactive for
Mr. Pigeon.
Jack can answer that one.
I don't think there's any limit.
Is it, does the borough have the ability to, what if we did not reapprove it after we
Yes.
rescind it? Can we do that? And can it then be marketed to somebody else who will use it?
The ABC could still overrule us if they wanted.
Yeah, they have the final say.
Right.
And actually, I think he has a potential buyer, so I think
That's what I've heard.
I'd like to pull 246.
246.
Basically only to say thank you to the donor, the Paragano Family Foundation. They are making a very generous donation to our police department.
And they do this
They do
thank
it
you.
annually. Yeah,
every year. It really is very generous.
very nice.
Yep. Anything else?
The meeting schedule, 249,
Yeah,
has it been determined whether or not we'll be back in person, or are we just continuing with Zoom until further notice?
I don't think we've made that decision. I think for at least through the end of the year, we're going to come January. It's hard to say because we don't know where the virus is going to, especially winter, as everybody's back inside. So I think, and our courtroom council chambers isn't really conducive to social distancing, and the ventilation isn't what it should be. So yeah, it may be a tough call for us. I know some towns are in person and wearing masks, but I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend 2 hours with a mask on trying to be heard.
Agreed.
When we eventually are able to meet in person, do we have the capabilities to have a hybrid meeting so that, because it clearly has helped people to follow what's going on and to engage the public in the meeting. So do we have the capability to have both a live meeting, but also Zoom capabilities?
I believe we can. It won't be very smooth, to put it mildly, given the technology we now have in the room and the way the room is configured. But anything's possible.
Well, to the mayor's point, I think we probably have 6 months to work on it.
Yeah, and I know like the Board of Ed has, live streaming like we do, but you can't participate if you're home, which, and I think people would like the opportunity to participate. So it could be tricky trying to do both. Or can you do like, the first meeting of the month is Zoom and the second meeting is public? I don't know if you can do that either.
It would probably require staffing on premises while we're having that meeting.
Yeah. I know.
At least to start.
Yeah, it would be, we'd need Chris to really figure out the technology, I think, to make it work. But for now, we're good. We'll stay on Zoom. Okay, would someone like to move the resolutions 21-245 to 258?
I'll move.
I'll
A
second.
second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Greenfield,
Yes.
Mr. Hammond,
Yes.
Ms. McCready,
Yes.
Mr. McQueen,
Yes.
Ms. Zamara.
Yes.
Next is my update. So on November 9th, we had our mental health first aid training with the department heads. This was sponsored by the Mayor's Wellness Campaign Committee, and Community in Crisis provided the training. I think just about all the department heads were there, and Christine and I also attended, and it was really exceptionally well done, very engaging. It's a great program. If we ever have the opportunity to offer it again, I'd recommend it to anyone who's interested. And Christine told me she actually got to use her training at work with a coworker who was having a small crisis. So it's really, they're great tools they gave us. Also on the 9th, I attended the county commissioners meeting. They recognized Kyle Morris for his achievement of Eagle Scout. So that was really nice that they gave him a nice proclamation and took a lot of pictures. On the 10th, I met with the partners of Grayfield Management who are looking at the Van Rensselaer property for possible development. So they just wanted to introduce themselves. So we may be hearing from them again. The 11th was downtown Bernardsville's board meeting. The 15th, we met with, Tom and I met with Joe DeMarco, and we're working on the agreement with Advanced Realty. You'll hear more about that in executive tonight. And I attended a meeting of the Law Enforcement Foundation meeting, which you'll hear more about that in the next week or two. We had a cultural arts meeting on the 17th. And our main project will be doing a Faces of Bernardsville art show. So right now we're collecting lists of people we think we want to have photographed, and then we'll be getting artists to either do photography or paintings or drawings, getting the school involved, and we will have that art show throughout the town, probably in the spring. I attended the Housing and Zoning Committee meeting on the 18th. The 19th was the County Stigma Free Committee, and I was able to connect them with the County Rotary to get involved in the stigma free movement. And it's also something that the Mayor's Wellness Campaign is working on. So you'll hear more on that. On the 19th, Tom, Bob Markowick, and I and Jack reviewed the RFPs for recreation and trails. So we have appointed, they were all excellent, all good companies. We appointed Suburban, which I think they're in Flanders, and I think they're going to do a great job for us. So, and thank you to Bob for all his input on that. The 20th, that was today. We had the county call today. They are now offering clinics for 5 to 11-year-olds. They have contacted the superintendents to see if they could set up some clinics at the schools. I don't know if our school has offered to participate or not. Anyone over 18 now can get a booster. At our last clinic here in town at the train station last week, we had 120 people, which was great. They also talked about the recovery funds. The county had held meetings with different groups in town, and their focus is on tourism recovery. They want to put a lot of the funding into that, and asked us something to think about for the council is if there's any tourism type project for our town that we would like to request. They're going to send out a form for us to fill out to see if there's a way we could use some of those funds to do tourism in Bernardsville. I also attended a webinar that Congressman Malinowski did today on the new infrastructure funding. They mentioned they're going to have 40 new competitive grants through that funding. They'll be rolling them out. I think it's 90 days from when they approve the bill or the law to start rolling out those grants. So they will be keeping us up to date as they come out. But there's going to be a lot of funding for transportation projects, infrastructure, wastewater. So we really we'll get on top of those grants. And then we had the land use committee met today as well, and you'll be getting an update in executive session. So that was my report. Next is Tom.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things to report. I did want to note on the consent agenda that council addressed 3 change orders. They netted over $100,000 in reductions in contracts. So kudos to the committee and Doug, particular, for being such a good manager of those resources. In the appointment of the two new officers, I was reminded of the marathon evening. Dr. Hammond and the chief and I spent interviewing those potential candidates. And I just thought it was good to point out to the committee, it was probably a 5-step process, and each process took a long time for those guys to get through. And it's very reassuring to see how comprehensive of a process the chief and the public safety and personnel committees have set up to make sure we get the best fits and the most qualified people we can into those positions. That builds value in the long run. I would like to welcome our new tax assessing assistant, Miss Wendy Brown. Please say hello to her if you come by to the building. She will be taking over for Celeste Hartman, who is retiring in a few weeks, and we are spending a couple weeks transitioning that office. We are an exciting life of a municipal manager. I'm really excited that we're offering municipay now. When you go to the construction and zoning office, you can now pay by credit card, and you can do it in person or online. So we're excited to finally have that going. That was finalized today, and residents will be provided instructions in the coming days online. And every day I see our guys pulling in and out of the yard with their leaf collection. Please drive carefully when you see them. And they are racing against the clock, trying to get all the leaves up before they freeze into blocks of ice. And the last thing I just want to point out, unfortunately, the pedestrian bridge at Nervine Park did wind up sustaining some considerable damage from Ida. It just didn't show itself until recently, where one of the 4 corners settled significantly because the bank underneath was undermined. So we have at least temporarily taped off that bridge. We have our engineer coming to inspect it in the next few days, and we'll also be submitting that to FEMA. So in case you see that roped off, you know why. That's all I have to report, Mayor.
Thank you. The townspeople refer to that leaf collector as Snuffleupagus, which I think is what it looks like. Those of you familiar with Sesame Street. We have all the department monthly reports. Anybody have questions on any of those? If not, would someone make a motion to accept them?
I'll move to accept the monthly reports.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Moving on to public safety. I don't think they've met, have you? John's not here.
No. The finance committee did not meet either. That's our last meeting.
Yeah. Council Organization Development and Personnel Committee. Jeff?
We did have a brief meeting. I believe it was November 3rd. And it had to do with a grievance, so it was confidential, and we're meeting again tomorrow. I believe is it tomorrow or later in the week? It's later in the week to follow up on that meeting and also to discuss some COVID workplace related questions.
Thank you. Council Engineering, Technology, and Public Works. Gina?
Yes, Public Works met. We first I'll say that I'll echo what Tom had said about Doug doing a great job and getting us some money back from our projects that we've had ongoing. Doug did a great presentation, which I hope is on the website now, about all the roads that were completed this year. So we've had 7.46 miles of road newly paved, and we have 55 total miles, I think it is, right, Jeff? All right. In Bernardsville, so it's a little over 10%, and that hit 276 homes, which again, roughly about 10% of our total homes. So really great job, Public Works capital projects, for getting that completed this year. Then we have, we were awarded $300 from NJDOT for the Bernards Avenue project. So that's wonderful for starting for next year.
Gina, did you say $300?
300,000, sorry.
Okay. That's
300,000, yeah. So last year we got 2 grants. I think they totaled about 500 or 550. This year we only got the one, although we applied for 2. So we got the Bernards Ave project, but we did not get the Bernards Ave neighborhood project. So we have some options, Chad, that'll probably come to Finance Committee, see what we do. Because one of them is, do we wait and, apply for that grant again, next year? Or do we try to get everything done next year in and of itself? So
yeah, that sounds good. We can discuss it in the next finance. I know we waited for those grants to get adjudicated, so at least we got part of what we were waiting for. So
yeah, it's good. Then there's a proposal that's going that Doug is working on with Chief Ballantyne and Lieutenant Remian about some costs to the borough for traffic control. And so hopefully that'll lower our costs moving forward. So I hope that is able to be negotiated. It was a great idea from Doug. And then we have the 2022 budget request that we talked through as well. For the Polo Grounds walking path, we've had our permits in since April 9th of this year, and we have yet to hear back from them. So Doug is trying to be very kind and nice, but I think our patience is running thin. So we need to hear back from the DEP on those so we can get our the walking path done. We were hoping to get it done this year, but that's not happening now. So we'll hope to get it done first thing in the spring. But we need to hear back from the DEP first. Also, the Bernardsville Quiet Zone, we had hired Van Cleef Engineering, and they have been doing site visits, and Doug is working with them to continue what would need to be done there in order to move forward, if anything. And he sent the road moratorium worksheets and the 2022 proposed work schedule to PSE&G and New Jersey American Water. And that's it.
Yeah, and actually now that we have Suburban as our Parks and Recreation, they may be able to help with those permits somewhat because they probably deal with them all the time. So maybe they can help us speed that along.
Yeah, it would be good. We've done some escalations, so.
Yeah.
Remind me, Gina, we sent the road schedule to PSE&G. Did we also send it to New Jersey Water?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
JCP&L, I think.
No, went to
right?
PSE. I think
It went to all 3.
Whoever digs up the roads.
Yeah,
I know the big complaints right now, though, are against New Jersey Water that they weren't paying attention to our schedule.
Yeah,
right. Even though we send it to them every year, this isn't the first time we're seeing it, just so everybody knows. But Doug did write on here specifically PSE&G and American Water.
It was actually more of a rhetorical question so that the public would know that we've let them know that they're ignoring they're ignoring our schedules, because I know there's a big complaint about why we can't coordinate things. The problem is on their end, not ours.
Has anyone have any liaison reports from other committees? I believe, Jeff?
Yeah, Environmental Commission did meet. Let me just get my notes here. Environmental Commission met on November 10th. We did discuss the remaining budget item when Johanna Wissinger presented that about the idea of having an environmental engineering study about along our roadways about possible ways to mitigate runoff, and that was already been considered by the council. In addition, we talked about let me hear. The orientation, I briefed them on the orientation of the pickleball courts and the progress on the construction of that. There was some discussion about getting prepared for the plastic bag ban, which will take place in May of next year. And we're going to try and coordinate with the Clean Communities program on how to mitigate the rollout of that and make it less painful to everybody. There is a request, and I'm not sure we have a lot of leeway here other than just to make a request, but we'd like to ask the Board of Adjustment for them to make some sort of tally about how much impervious coverage or the percent of steep slopes that they've approved, and then keep a running tally of that so that we can get a sense of what any variances that they approve have an impact over time. When they make these decisions on an individual case basis, sometimes the aggregate can get lost in the shuffle and without understanding the impact of that. So the EC is going to try to discuss with a representative of the Board of Adjustment that they do that. And then lastly, we just want to point out that there are 2 open seats on the Environmental Commission. So people who might have an interest should put their name into the skills bank and apply.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything? Any other committees that met? I know I did.
I had the library, that's it. The Library Board of Trustees was on the 16th.
Mhm.
And a very dedicated volunteer has decided to retire from the Board of Trustees, Lucy Orphan, so she will be sorely missed. She did a lot of great work for the library.
Or something like that, 22 years. I don't know, it was a really long time.
Right. So that was one, and then they still have their survey open, the library survey. If you go to bernardsvillelibrary.org, they have the banner right at the top requesting people to take their survey. So anyone listening to this, if you haven't done it already, please do the survey. And they have a jazz concert coming up on the 5th, December 5th from 3 to 4. That's free, and that's coming up after Thanksgiving. I also participated in the Rec Department Veteran Day event on the 14th. So I want to thank all the Rec Department employees who helped organize that event. It was on a Saturday. They did a wonderful job. They had a great turnout, and it was a very meaningful day for all those who did it. It was a great day. It was cold, but it was a great day.
Diane, I got tied up at work. Is anything report from the Housing Committee?
Yes, we met on the 18th, and the committee is currently discussing the potential of a perimeter fence ordinance, and the discussions are ongoing and will continue on to next month.
Yeah, and actually, I have to say, we're going to miss Diane, has been chairing that, and she's done an outstanding job. And now I have to find a new chair for that committee, which is not going to be easy. She's really got it so well organized, and we've got our top 10 list, and Jeff and Renee have been doing a great job following through. But thank you for all the time you put into that. Thanks. Actually, I attended the Rec Committee meeting because I think we were between people, liaisons, and that was, I think, this past Tuesday. They're really excited about moving forward with our engineer for both, recreation, as well as both passive and active recreation. So I think that's going to be exciting to see how that rolls out, and they're really on top of it. Bob, it was great to see quite a number of people from the public come out and say really positive things about this moving forward. There's Bob. He runs a great meeting, by the way. If you ever go to a rec meeting, he really does a great job keeping everybody focused, moving along, very positive. And there were a lot of comments from the public that were very supportive and excited. I think it's going to generate a lot of community support and just interest and as well as feedback, from people. There's still a lot of opportunity for people to have some, to comment on how we're moving ahead. So, Bob, did you want to add anything?
Oh, no, I just want to say thanks for everyone that attended. It was great to see almost 30 people on. When you're in public service, you like to see that kind of participation. So that was really cool. And I'm glad some of the committee members got to showcase some of their talents because they work really hard and they do a lot of volunteer work. So thank you for everyone that attended, and thanks to my committee again. That was a cool experience.
It was.
Thank you.
Moving on to items of business, Comcast franchise renewal. Jack, I'm going to let you explain this.
Yeah, I needed an explanation, so I hope somebody can.
Yeah. We don't have a whole lot of power anymore because the FCC and the state have basically preempted things. But we had a public hearing on this back in April of 2020, and then they just went away. I suggest we carry the introduction to the next meeting. And in the meantime, Tom and I talked to them to see if we can get anything from them. There's not a whole lot we can get anymore, but it's probably worth a discussion.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So Jack, one of the things that came up in my mind, so obviously it's Comcast. Are we locked into a contract there?
Well, it's not a contract. I'm sorry, Jack.
No, go ahead, please.
It's not a contract. It's a municipal consent to their franchise to operate in the borough. And now with FiOS and everything, it's a non-exclusive franchise.
So it is non-exclusive. So we're not correct. Giving preference one way or the other.
Nope, not at all. It's just allowing them to continue offering cable service in the borough.
What's the purpose of it then? I mean, if it's a non-exclusive, non-contract, what's the whole purpose of it?
That's a good question.
If I may, it's a remnant of back in the day when every town had a local dealer for cable services.
Yeah, the laws are really archaic.
So is it more like we're just saying, yeah, it's okay, you can do your stuff here?
Yes.
Permission.
And when only one, in the beginning, only one cable company would come into town because it was expensive to lay cable. But now with FiOS, that's not the case anymore. So they're not willing to give you a whole lot in order to get the consent anymore.
Well, what if we don't? What is the consequence of not giving consent?
The BPU can still grant it.
But they could still operate here, right? So what is
as long as Tom said, it's a remnant of when there used to be 1,000 small cable companies. Now they're 2, and
you can't keep them out of your town.
Well, if we said no, they would go to the BPU and say they didn't have any good reason to deny us. They had a public hearing. There were no public complaints. We're offering service, and they would probably get it regardless of what we do.
And there really isn't. I mean, there is FiOS, but it's not everywhere in town. So people don't have many options.
It's more of a principle. This sounds like nonsense. So if it's archaic nonsense,
it's archaic nonsense.
Perpetuating the archaic nonsense.
Rather than table it, why not just approve it tonight, since it seems to be both inconsequential and also we have no power over it.
Yeah.
So rather than dragging it out and adding it to the next meeting and making that one potentially longer, why don't just vote on it now?
We can do that, and Tom and I can talk to them in the meantime and see if there's anything we can get. But it's,
Jack, are we required to post a public hearing?
Yeah, we can always continue the public hearing. But we already had the public hearing. The required cable TV consent public hearing we had in April of 2020.
Oh, okay.
Does this require a motion then for us?
A resolution?
Well, it's an ordinance. If you want to introduce it, you can. Anthony's got it at the back with an ordinance number in case you did want to introduce it this evening.
Well, yeah. So then what if, even though we're introducing, we still have to bring it back next meeting?
Yes, it requires 2 readings.
Yeah. So we might as well introduce it now. You still have time to talk to them.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
All right. Do I have a motion?
You don't want it to come from me, so somebody else.
I don't know what the formal language is. I don't know what the number would be. I think it might be 1904 or 1905 at this point.
5.
05.
1905,
I
so,
can do it.
2021, 1905.
You've got it up. Go ahead, Gina.
Yeah, I've got it up here. So I move that ordinance 2021-1905, an ordinance renewal of municipal consent to Comcast to construct, connect, operate, and maintain a cable, television, and communication systems in the Borough of Bernardsville, County of Somerset, be introduced by title, passed on first reading, published according to law, and then a public hearing be scheduled for a meeting beginning 7 p.m. December 13th, 2021. Now you can
Second.
second, Jeff.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. I don't believe we had any correspondence. Do we have any unfinished business? Anything hanging out there? Yeah.
I just had a question. Where do we stand with the energy aggregation proposal we talked about several meetings ago with, I think it was CUC?
We didn't, I mean, I didn't see a lot of support from the council, so.
They didn't send our comparison, did they, Tom?
No, you're right. I will follow up on that, see if we,
Tom did.
Yeah,
He said he would provide it.
right? You want
I
to
think it's
follow
still
up?
something worth, I think there's still something worth pursuing. I think it wasn't so much that there wasn't support from the council. We were just awaiting more information.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
And as Gina, Councilwoman McCready said, she prompted me to remind them about, what, 2 weeks ago now? And we sent an email and they said they would be getting back to us, but nothing yet.
okay.
And that was just a very simple comparison of their costs versus the competitive, the normal costs coming from either PSE&G or JCP&L. You'd think that they'd have that pretty handy. I don't know. I'm not impressed.
I was thoroughly unimpressed as well, but I'm not going to let unimpressed presentations and business practices prevent the borough from, or the residents from making money.
Savings.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, we'll follow up on that. New business, we have a resolution to, now we're back to the license for renewing this. So, would someone like to move that? Anybody?
I'll move.
This is resolution 21-259. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please. Oh, you're muted, Anthony.
I'm muted, yes. Ms. Greenfield,
Yes.
Mr. Hammond,
Yes.
Ms. McCready,
Sorry, I couldn't get off mute either.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the other vote.
Yes.
Ms. McCready, okay. Mr. McQueen,
Yes.
Ms. Zamara,
Yes.
Okay, and now 10D, we just wanted to appoint Diane to take the liaisons that Matt had, which was recreation, HPAC, and public safety till the end of the year until we redo all of the appointments. Do we need a resolution for that, Jack?
You could just do a motion.
A motion? Okay, do I have a
Yes.
motion?
Yeah, I'll move to appoint Diane to the mayor's committees.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, you have your assignments.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Actually, I
Diane.
don't think HPAC has met. I don't know if they're meeting. Have they met? Since,
I spoke to someone from HPAC who said that they haven't really had any reason to meet. So at this point, they have not met in a while.
and Anthony, you notified the chair that they have a temporary liaison?
yeah, I will notify them by email.
Okay. And now we are at our second open session. So if anyone from the public would like to comment, make a statement, please raise your hand. Give us your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Well, I'm not from the public, but I do have just a new business item, just real quick announcement. I think I might have announced it the last meeting, but we're going to have a menorah lighting at the Bernardsville Center this coming Sunday night at 5 p.m. It's being sponsored by the Chabad of Somerset County, which is in Basking Ridge, but it's also being supported by the Bernardsville Diversity Committee and the High Center for Jewish Life, which I think is in Warren. And we're going to have, this year, we're going to have some hot cider out there because it's going to be a cold night, and some jelly donuts, which are traditional on Hanukkah. So everybody can come on out, 5 p.m. Sunday.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And that's at the Bernard Center, like it's kind of in front
Right.
of.
It's on the little grassy patch between the Bernard Center and the Dunkin' Donuts, right outside the Kessler rehab.
Okay, good. Thank you. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? I am seeing none, so I will close the public session. Tom, yes. We do have just a couple of brief things for executive session, and we will not be coming back out. Why does it keep doing that? I think that's it, right? Yeah, so if
Okay.
Jay.
Move to adjourn to executive session?
Yeah, I just want to tell Jay, you can come to the executive session since you are now official. I don't see Al. Al's not here.
Yeah, no, he's on vacation.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot that. Okay, so you may attend. So I need a motion.
I'll move to go to executive session.
I'll second.
All in favor?